Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is Radio Hogan, and once again, I'm narrowcasting to you from downtown New Jersey. It is April 25th, 2009, and the title of this video is The Sociological Imagination. And the title of the video is taken from a book of the same name by a sociologist who taught at Columbia University in the mid-1950s, named C. Wright Mills. Now, I've given up making statements like the greatest intellectual and stuff like that. I will tell you, however, that C. Wright Mills is one of my favorite intellectuals, and I certainly consider him one of America's greatest intellectuals, certainly of the 20th century. He has written many books. Over time, I intend to review or provide a synopsis of just about all of his books. Now, when I do cover an intellectual or review their work, it is not meant as a substitute for your reading the books. I want you to read the books. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to get you interested in C. Wright Mills. Now, he's written, probably his two most famous works are White Collar, which is about the middle class Americans, and how the middle class changed from being entrepreneurial business owners to being cogs in the great corporate middle management wheel. It's a transition that also a very famous sociologist named David Reisman, who wrote a book called The Lonely Crowd, and I'll be reviewing that book in the future. It's a transition from the inner-directed man, the entrepreneur, who thinks up the ideas and implements them on his own, to the other-directed man who takes directions from management higher up in the hierarchy or from the society as a whole. Mills has also written a book called The Power Elite, where he studies the power of corporate executives and the military executives and how they run the show here in America. And he's written The Causes of World War III, The Marxists, and I'll be doing a review of those books also. I'll be reviewing every one of his books over the coming years. Okay, so what is the sociological imagination about? Mills says it's the intersection of history with one's personal history or biography within society, okay? So in order to appreciate what's going on in one's life, one needs to have a knowledge of history and, in fact, a knowledge of all the social sciences so that one can put one's life in perspective. One needs to know about the structure of society. Where does our current society stand in the evolution of human history, and what varieties of men and women prevail in our society? So, if people can understand the social sciences, it allows people to come up with adequate summations of what's going on in their lives and their society, cohesive assessments, comprehensive orientations. Now, Mills makes a distinction in explaining the sociological imagination between personal troubles and public issues. Personal troubles, the statement and resolution of troubles properly lie within the individual and his milieu. Issues involve the society as a whole. Issues transcend any individual or milieu, and they have to do with the institutions of society as a whole. And in his book, on page 9, Mills offers 4 examples. The classic example is that of unemployment. If unemployment is 1 or 2% and you find yourself unemployed, that's a personal trouble. If unemployment reaches 8, 9, 10, 11, 20% or 30% as it did in the Great Depression, that's a public issue. Now, the extreme right wing, the crypto-fascists who are constantly apologizing for government, will always seek to make unemployment a personal trouble, and they will say that there's always a job out there for those who want to work. Well, that's just not the case, folks. When unemployment hits 8, 9, 10, 15%, and you've got a couple of jobs on offer, and the news on the TV shows that 10,000 people show up, that's a public issue. And what you have there is the structure of opportunities has collapsed. Business slumps cause massive unemployment that cannot be solved by the most highly motivated, energetic person willing to work. So if you have a nation of 50 million people and 15 million are out of work, that's a public issue. That's not your personal trouble. And you shouldn't be taking on these public issues and feeling guilty or feeling that you have caused this thing. No. Mismanagement of our society has caused the unemployment today. Another example is war. Now, in terms of personal troubles, the question of war is how to survive, or if you're a war profiteer, how to make money from the war. However, the public issues involved in war are the effects on economic, political, family, and religious institutions. The individual is powerless to prevent war, so war is a public issue. Marriage. Inside marriage, there can be personal troubles. However, when the divorce rate in the first 4 years is 250 per 1,000 marriages, this is a public issue having to do with the institutions of society and the stresses those institutions are placing on married couples. The last example Mills gives is the metropolis. Living in a city can be a personal trouble, a personal challenge. However, designing and managing a city is a public issue, and that's how living in the personal troubles get solved, is through better design and management of major cities. Now, structural changes in milieu and institutions, more complex, more stress, and the understanding these things requires a sociological imagination. Now, I'll be going into 2 more videos to take apart 2 other sections of the sociological imagination. And they're called Bureaucracy and the Idiot, and Reasoning and the Cheerful Robot. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.